Honestly, you're in studio anywhere from maybe 10 hours a week on a good week to, say, leading up to final review when your project is due. You're in there every waking hour. I will say last semester, after Thanksgiving break, if I wasn't eating or sleeping or showering, I was in the studio. By the end, it was bad enough that my leaving time was whenever my vision got blurry. Because that was when I was like, you've been looking for too long. You have to go to sleep. At first, I joked a lot that it was basically just glorified art school, which it's not really anymore. It's there's definitely a lot more like science and technical aspects that go into it, but it's still a very, very creative degree, which I'm a big fan of. Our project is essentially to come up with middle density housing to go on that parking lot. And I'm trying to work with sort of row houses where like brownstones in New York City. So it's instead of like a big apartment unit like you see in a lot of West Campus or a lot of places that are getting rapidly developed, it's a lot more, much smaller scale, maybe 4 stories, and just a bunch of townhomes with 4 or 5 apartments on each floor. And so we're working in East Austin, which is it's a place that's being rapidly gentrified, and the housing prices are shooting up, which is displacing a lot of people who've lived in East Austin for generations. It's always shocking when I tell people that like as an architecture major, I'm not like super duper interested in buildings themselves, but just like cities and like the way cities come together, and especially like urban planning, like zoning and all the like local laws that shape how a city looks are really interesting to me. And just like seeing all the ways that like people can live together and all the different ways that cities can look and like how they can take shape over like decades and centuries is pretty cool. 3, obviously.
Living dangerously.
Yeah, and I'm taking the 3rd one from you.
Sometimes.
It wasn't even that good.
Sometimes.
Okay, so like somewhere between 15 and 20 feet from that wall to here, whatever 20 feet is. So you get to 5th Street, and then it'll be like a terrace where it goes off, and that terrace underneath is grocery store.
Just because of the time commitments, et cetera, you're missing a lot of experiences that you might really wish you were having and would have otherwise. But you can sort of have those in the studio too. And the cohort's a really beautiful group of people. And I really appreciate all of them. Tim's fit right in. He's always been one who's pushing and challenging, but not like, I don't know how to say that. He's very, he questions in a really positive way.
It's definitely not like any other major, as far as I know, and as far as like I've heard from other people. We're essentially all of the students are on a first name basis with each other, and we all work together really closely on projects, and you get really close with people. Even if you don't seem to have anything in common at first, there's just that like shared experience of you're in architecture and you're working on all this together, and you are forced to see them 30 hours a week. I don't think a single one of my assignments would have been anywhere near as good if I didn't have these people to like talk to and get ideas from. As of right now, the hardest thing is just the hours that we have to put in, and especially when that gets bad, that's usually the point when like people start to rethink like, is this the major for me? There were a lot of nights of like, was this the right decision? Do I really want to keep doing this for the next 4 years? And now after having time to like take in the worst of it and getting to experience much more peaceful points, I realized like this is definitely something that I want to do. I'm happy with the things that I was able to come up with, and I was happy with the arguments that I made. I think the project itself was definitely not as good as it could have been, but of course it's not like it's not like I failed catastrophically this semester. It was just skills that I hadn't developed. I think it's a big commitment. It's a lot of time commitment, and you do definitely sacrifice a lot to get this work done. And I think I wouldn't be willing to sacrifice those things, and I wouldn't be willing to work this hard if I didn't like what I was doing. And I think the fact that like I have fun with the projects, I'm happy with the end result, and I think it's very satisfying to see a project from beginning to the end. And I think that's a rewarding enough experience that I'm willing to put up with the long hours and the lack of sleep and the hard work and the money that I spend.